Most super yachts follow the same formula. Big hull, white paint, a few decks stacked on top of each other. You've seen one, you've kind of seen them all. This one is different. This is a 145-meter superyacht concept built for 2050, and the moment you see it, you'll understand why everything before it already feels outdated. The hull is not white. It's a deep obsidian gray, constructed from a carbon fiber composite that's roughly 40% lighter than steel, but significantly stronger. That's not just an aesthetic choice. That material decision changes everything about how this yacht performs, how much fuel it burns, and how large it can be built without compromising its structure. The hull shape itself is sharper than anything you'd see today. A planing hull with a razor-cut bow, designed to cut through water rather than push against it. And at night, this thing is something else entirely. LED strips are embedded directly into the hull lines, running the full 145 meters from stem to stern. Underwater lights push blue and white light beneath the waterline. And we're going inside. Before we go any further, everything you're seeing in this video is a concept design. This yacht doesn't exist. It's fictional. But every detail, every dimension, every design decision you're about to hear is grounded in real yacht design logic. Now, how do you actually get on something like this? You have three options. You arrive by tender, which docks directly at the swim platform at the stern. You arrive by helicopter, landing on the dedicated helipad positioned at the bow. Or, if the yacht is anchored close enough, you come in through the water, because the swim platform on this yacht is not an afterthought. It's a full 12-meter wide teak and carbon fiber platform sitting just above the waterline. It's wide enough to comfortably fit two tenders side by side with room left over. There's built-in storage underneath for water equipment, and the surface is flush. No raised edges, no clutter. From the swim platform, you walk through a glass and brushed steel entry door. Full height, about 2.4 meters tall. It slides rather than swings, and when it opens, you're standing at the base of the atrium. And that's the first moment where you realize this yacht is built differently. The floor space at the base is roughly 8 by 12 meters. Not massive, but it's not trying to be. The ceiling at the top sits at around 18 meters above you. That's the atrium. Simple, but it stops you for a second. The main social deck is where most of the living happens on this yacht. And the way it's laid out is worth paying attention to, because it doesn't feel like one big open room. It feels like three distinct spaces that happen to sit next to each other without walls separating them. Let's start with the main lounge. It's positioned at the center of the deck, facing the stern. The room is roughly 14 by 10 meters. There are two large L-shaped sofas facing each other, both in a warm off-white boucle fabric, sitting on a low platform that raises them about 10 centimeters off the floor. That small elevation detail is intentional. It defines the lounge area without needing a wall or a divider. Between the sofas is a low travertine coffee table, stone top, no legs, just a solid travertine block sitting on the floor. Behind each sofa, there are side tables in brushed bronze with a thin marble top. The entire stern wall of the lounge is floor-to-ceiling glass, smart glass, which we'll get into later in the technology section. But the view from those sofas is unobstructed, open water. When you're sitting there, there's nothing between you and the horizon. The flooring throughout this deck is wide plank European oak. Matte finish, not glossy. It runs continuously from the lounge through to the dining area and into the sitting spaces, which is one of the things that keeps the whole deck feeling connected. Now the dining hall. It sits just forward of the lounge, slightly elevated by 2 steps. The table is 6 meters long, seats 14 people comfortably. The table surface is honed black granite, not polished, honed, so it has a subtle texture to it rather than a mirror finish. The chairs are a warm tan leather, low back, with oak legs matching the floor. On both sides of the dining room, there are narrow horizontal windows running at eye level when seated. So when you're sitting at that table, you have a continuous strip of ocean visible on both sides of you. Then there are the sitting areas. These are different from the main lounge in purpose. The lounge is where you settle in for a few hours. The sitting areas are more transitional, 2 of them, placed on either side of the deck near the forward end. Each one has two armchairs facing each other across a small side table. The chairs are in a dark charcoal fabric, tighter and more upright than the lounge sofas. They're positioned next to the side windows, so you get a lateral view of the water rather than the stern view you get from the lounge. They work well for a conversation between two people. The way all three spaces connect is straightforward. There are no doors between them, no walls, no dividers. The flooring runs through all of it. The ceiling height stays consistent at 3.2 meters across the entire deck. What separates them is just placement, elevation change, and furniture arrangement. It's an open plan, but it doesn't feel like one big room because each space has its own identity. That's the main social deck. This yacht has 6 guest suites. All of them are on the same deck, running along both sides of the hull. 3 on the port side, 3 on the starboard side. Each suite is around 42 square meters, not including the bathroom. Let's walk through one. You walk in through a solid oak door, full height, no frame gap at the top. The bed sits against the forward wall, centered in the room. It's a king, with a low-profile upholstered headboard and a warm gray fabric that goes almost to the ceiling. On either side of the bed, there are floating nightstands. Thin oak shelves mounted directly to the wall. No legs, no brackets visible. Across from the bed, against the opposite wall, there's a 2-seater sofa in the same off-white boucle fabric you saw in the main lounge. It's not a large sofa. It's there for one person to sit and read, or 2 people to have a quiet conversation. Next to it is a writing desk, also in oak, with a simple chair. Clean, no clutter on the surface. Storage runs along the entire left wall, floor-to-ceiling wardrobes with flush push-to-open doors. No handles. The wall just looks like a flat panel until you push it. The bathroom is through a sliding door on the right side of the room. The floor and walls are a large format gray limestone tile, 120 by 60 centimeters. This yacht has 5 exterior decks in total. Each one has a specific purpose. Nothing is just open space with a few chairs thrown on it. The main pool deck sits on the 3rd level. This is the most active outdoor space on the yacht. The pool itself is 14 meters long and 4 meters wide. It runs along the center line of the deck, oriented stern to bow. The depth is consistent at 1.4 meters throughout. No shallow end, no steps breaking up the middle. The interior of the pool is finished in a dark gray mosaic tile, which gives the water a deep, almost black appearance in daylight. The decking material around the pool is teak, but not the standard narrow plank teak you see everywhere. These are wide planks, 15 centimeters across, with very tight gaps between them. It runs the full perimeter of the pool and extends out to the edges of the deck on both sides. On the port side of the pool, there are 4 sun loungers in a cream outdoor fabric, each with a small side table. On the starboard side, there's a covered outdoor sitting area, a fixed shade structure built from steel and teak, with 4 deep armchairs underneath it and a low table between them. The shade structure isn't a retractable awning. It's a permanent architectural element, designed as part of the deck rather than added onto it. One deck above that is the sky deck. It's quieter up there, more private. There's a smaller sitting area with 2 sofas facing each other. It's the kind of space you go to in the evening, not the middle of the day. At night, the exterior of this yacht is worth talking about separately. Each deck edge has a thin linear LED strip running its full perimeter. Not bright, just enough to define the outline of each level from a distance. The hull lighting runs stem to stern at the waterline. The underwater lights push outward from the hull below the surface. From half a mile away on open water at night, you see 5 clean lines of light stacked on top of each other, sitting above a blue underwater glow. It's a distinctive silhouette. You'd know it from a distance. The owner's quarters are on the 4th deck, the highest occupied level before the sky deck. And the positioning is deliberate. At that height, you're above the sight lines of every other deck. Nobody below can see into your space. You have an unobstructed 270-degree view from the front and both sides of the yacht. It's the best view on the entire vessel, and it's private. Let's start with the bedroom. The room is 68 square meters, just the bedroom, not including the bathroom or the private deck. The bed is centered on the forward wall, facing the stern. king size, with a full-height headboard in a dark walnut veneer that runs wall to wall and floor to ceiling behind it. It's not just a headboard. It's the entire wall treated as one surface. On the left side of the bed, there's a single armchair in dark leather with a floor lamp beside it. On the right, a two-seater sofa positioned at a slight angle facing the stern windows. The stern wall is fully glazed, 4 large fixed glass panels running from knee height to ceiling. The view from the bed and from that sofa is straight out the back of the yacht. The wardrobe runs along the entire right wall, the same flush push-to-open system from the guest suites, but larger. It takes up the full wall, floor to ceiling. The ceiling is flat and plastered in a warm white, with a single large recessed panel in the center finished in the same dark walnut as the headboard wall. Lighting is built into the perimeter of that recessed panel, indirect, so it throws light upward toward the ceiling rather than down into the room. The bathroom connects directly off the left side of the bedroom through a full-height pivot door in walnut. Inside, the floor and walls are in a large format Nero Marquina marble, black with thin white veining. It's a significant shift in material from the rest of the yacht, and it works because the room is large enough to carry it. The vanity is a long floating unit, about 2.4 meters, with a single wide basin positioned off-center. Brushed gold fixtures throughout, not chrome, not steel. The bathtub sits against the outer hull wall, freestanding, in a matte white stone composite. Next to it is a full-height narrow window, 30 centimeters wide, running nearly floor to ceiling, positioned so that when you're in the bath, you're looking directly out at the water. The shower is separate in its own enclosed space at the far end of the bathroom. Large format, same marble, double rain heads. Now the private deck. It connects off the bedroom through a sliding glass door on the starboard side. It's 40 square meters, a meaningful size. There are 2 deep outdoor armchairs and a low table positioned toward the forward edge, a built-in bench running along the hull side, and at the stern corner of the deck, a private hot tub. 4 meters by 2 meters, recessed into the deck surface, so the rim sits flush with the decking around it. There's a set of stairs built into the deck that go directly down to a private swim platform, separate from the main guest arrival platform. The owner can go from bedroom to open water without crossing any shared space on the yacht. The office sits just forward of the bedroom, accessible through a connecting door inside the suite. It's a smaller room, around 22 square meters. The desk runs along the forward wall, a full 3-meter wide surface in the same walnut as the bedroom. There are 2 monitor arms mounted to the desk, cable management built into the surface, and a row of narrow horizontal windows above the desk at eye level when seated. Same ocean view, but in a format that doesn't distract the way a full glass wall would. The room is acoustically separated from the rest of the deck. The door is solid core. The walls have acoustic insulation built in. It's a working space that happens to be on a superyacht, not a superyacht space that's been dressed up to look like an office. Now let's talk about what's actually running underneath all of this. This yacht has a centralized AI management system. It handles climate control, lighting, security, and navigation inputs across the entire vessel. Every cabin has its own climate zone. The system learns preferences over time and adjusts automatically without anyone touching a panel. Lighting across all decks is managed the same way. It reads the time of day, the natural light coming in, and adjusts accordingly. Security covers every entry point, every corridor, with facial recognition at the main entry points replacing traditional key or card access. On navigation, this yacht is capable of autonomous sailing. It uses a combination of radar, LiDAR, and GPS mapping to plot and hold a course without human input. But the crew doesn't disappear. They're still responsible for judgment calls, port entry, anchoring, and anything that requires human assessment. The autonomy handles the open water hours, which on long crossings is most of the journey. Solar panels are integrated across the top deck and the roof structure of the sky deck, not bolted on top as an afterthought, but flush-mounted into the surface. Combined panel area is around 280 square meters. That feeds directly into a lithium-ion battery bank stored below deck, which powers all onboard systems, lighting, climate, electronics, independently of the main engines. The engines only run when you're moving. The propulsion system is hybrid. 2 diesel engines paired with electric drive motors. At low speeds and in harbor, it runs on electric only, near silent, zero emissions at the waterline. At cruising speed, the diesels engage. Fuel consumption compared to a conventional yacht of this size drops by roughly 35%. The hull has an air lubrication system built in. Thousands of small outlets along the underside of the hull release a continuous layer of air bubbles between the hull surface and the water. It reduces hull friction, which directly reduces the power needed to maintain speed. Less power means less fuel, or in electric mode, longer range on the same battery charge. Smart glass is used throughout. The main lounge stern wall, the owner's bedroom glazing, and several of the guest suite windows. At the touch of a button or automatically on a schedule, the glass shifts from fully transparent to fully opaque. No blinds, no curtains. The glass itself changes. It also has a heat filtering layer built in that reduces solar heat gain by around 60%, which takes significant load off the climate system. Connectivity runs through a low-orbit satellite system, the kind that delivers consistent high-speed internet anywhere on open water, not just near coastlines. There's also a separate encrypted communication network for the owner's use, completely isolated from the guest network. The structure itself is worth mentioning. The hull and superstructure are built from carbon fiber composite rather than steel or aluminum. At 145 meters, that material choice reduces the overall weight of the vessel by a significant margin, which means the engines work less hard, the hull sits higher in the water, and the range increases. It also means the superstructure can be taller and larger without the weight penalty you'd carry in steel. Everything in this section connects. The materials reduce weight. The weight reduction improves efficiency. The solar and hybrid system reduce fuel dependency. The AI manages it all continuously in the background. None of it is one standalone feature, it's a system. That's the full walkthrough of this 2050 Superyacht concept. What's worth taking away from this isn't just the scale of it. It's the thinking behind the decisions. The material choices that affect performance. The way the interior is organized so that every space has a clear purpose. The technology that works quietly in the background rather than announcing itself. That's what separates a well-designed yacht from just a large one. Concept designs like this one matter because they push the boundary of what's considered buildable. Several things you saw in this video, hybrid propulsion, air lubrication systems, solar integration, autonomous navigation, are already being developed and tested on real vessels right now. This concept just takes them further. If you made it to the end of this video, you clearly appreciate the details. So if you haven't subscribed to Luminera Rides yet, hit that subscribe button right now. We put out detailed concept walkthroughs exactly like this one. No filler, just the real breakdown of some of the most extraordinary yacht designs you'll find anywhere. And if you want to see more, there's a video on screen right now. Click it. It's another Superyacht concept walkthrough, and if you enjoyed this one, you'll want to see that one too. Thanks for watching.